All right, in this video, we're going to be going over activity 1 on page 47 through 48, and then we'll get to our assignment on page 55. So activity 1, it says modeling reflections on the coordinate plane. So we have already completed the guided notes on reflecting and then analyzing between differences when we reflect from the x-axis and y-axis. For number 1, we're not going to use patty paper. Right, we're going to use our understanding from our assignment on the translation reflections assignment, where we have a line of reflection, in this case the x-axis. Go ahead and highlight where it says x-axis and highlight the actual axis. We have the points, the coordinates of the points already labeled here on the table for figure J. Right, and for figure J, that's just right here. We're just calling this entire thing figure J. We're going to reflect all these points from the x-axis and then compare any differences or similarities and then write a rule. So just kind of adding on to our guided notes. So first thing here we're going to look at is A, right, where this is going to be for A prime. And then for here, right, we can use patty paper to trace, or what we can do is we can just compare it to the line. So I'm looking right over here, A. I'm going to draw the arcs here, but I'm going to erase them afterwards just so we know the distance. So from A to the line, it looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 5 above, so I'm gonna have to go 5 below. So it's gonna be right over here. Right, this is A prime. We're listing the coordinate for A prime. So whenever we list the coordinate, that's a parentheses comma another parentheses. You always start at the origin here. We go left and right for the x-axis like this, and then up and down for the y-axis, and keeping in mind any changes of sign. So this is going 2 right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. So that is positive 2, negative 5. So let's go ahead and put that right here, positive 2, negative 5. All right, we're going to do that for all the other points as well. So for B, B is just 1 above. So I'm going to go 1 below, and that is right here. We'll call this B prime. Let me connect these two. So that's the point 2, 1 down, so 2, negative 1. All right, let's go to C. C is 1 above. So I got to go 1 below. So that's right here exactly on this 4. We'll call that C prime. And that is the coordinate going 4 to the right and 1 down. So C prime is 4, positive 4, negative 1. Let's continue to D. D is 1, 2, 3 above. So let's go 1, 2, 3 below. Okay, connecting there. And for D prime, it looks like that is 6 to the right and 3 down. So that is positive 6 and negative 3. Okay. E, 1, 2, 3, 4 up. So it's going to be 4 down. Looks like E prime will be right here. And that is 5, negative 4. Let's connect. And then we have one more point that we have to graph, and that is F. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to go 6 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right here. So it is F prime. And that coordinate is 6, negative 6. Since I'm going 6 to the right, oops, too far, and then 6 down to get to that point. All right, and since A connects to F like this, that means that right, A prime should connect to F prime. So let's just make sure that that's connected. All right, we have the graph figure. Since this is J, this will be J prime. That's just a name for the entire figure with these 6 various points. Looks like it is congruent. Now, how can you tell that it's congruent? From each point, you can tell if it's congruent if like B to C is two distances away, 2 units. B prime to C prime as well. A to B is 4 units away. Yep. It's tougher to tell whether the diagonal lengths are equal, but let's say A to F. How can I gauge that distance? Right, this isn't 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right from A to F. You need to think of horizontal and vertical direction. So this is 1 up, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. So 1, 4. Is this also 1, 4? In this case, I go 1 down, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. So it is a 1, 4, right? So that distance is correct. From F to E or E to F, that's 1 in one direction and 2 in another. From F prime to E prime, that's 1 in one direction and 2 to the other. I can get to that same path there. So we can tell that this is a congruent object, same shape, same size. But talking about same, we'll get to B. So compare the coordinates of J prime with the coordinates of figure J. How are the values of the coordinates the same? How are they different? So if we look at this is something that we notice in our guided notes as well. Right? What do we notice from A to A prime, B to B prime, and so on? Do we see anything that's the same? So I'm looking at this. This is 2, 5. This is 2, -5. B is 2, 1. B prime is 2, -1. And it looks like all this is correct. The thing that is the same is that the x values, that's the first value, are the same, are all the same. So when we reflect about the x-axis, the x values stay the same, meaning that it still lines up vertically. Like you see how B and B prime are lined up vertically, C to C prime are lined up vertically, D to D prime. So x values will always stay the same. The thing that is different are the y values. So the y coordinates or y values of the image are opposites. So what I mean by this, I think here, right, we see 5 to be -5, 1 to be -1. This doesn't mean make everything negative. It just means make it the opposite. Like let's say this were 6, -6. This would be 6, +6, changing that y value. But it just turns out because everything was in quadrant 1, this top right quadrant here, everything is always positive here. But how can we write this as a rule? So at the bottom, I'd like for you to put x reflecting about the x-axis. Any point x and y becomes x comma -y. Now this right here does not mean make all the y's negative. It just means the opposite of whatever the y is. So if it's positive, it becomes negative, and if it's negative, it becomes positive. Okay, so right, graphing this figure where I didn't even use the coordinates at all. All right, let's say I give you a point. Let's say I give you G. Let's say G is -3, +7. Let me graph that. -3, +7. -3, +7 is right here. G. Not G prime, just G. Let's say I use my rule. G prime would then be -3, right? The x value still stays the same, but 7. 7 becomes -7. So let me graph that. This means go 3 left, and -7 means go 7 down. So 3 left, 7 down. I'm going to go 3 to the left, 7 down, so I'm right over here. This should be G prime. And if we look at G to compared to G prime, right, they're lined up vertically. They're the same, right? This is 7 up, this is 7 down, right? So exactly symmetrical from the line of reflection. All right, so we can then use the rule. And part of the reason for mathematics is to find more efficient ways of going about something, right? This is an efficient way of, instead of graphing it, we can just automatically just change the sign of the second value. We're going to move on to the next page on page 48. This is now reflecting about the y-axis. So go ahead, if you have a highlighter, go ahead and highlight y-axis and just trace the y-axis as well. We're going to go through the same figures here. This is the same thing that we did on the last one. right? It's the same exact shape, figure J, just right here. But now we're going to reflect, we're just going to ask ourselves, how much are we moving from the left or right of that vertical line? And then write the coordinate. So let's start with A here. A is, right, 2 units away. I'm going to switch this to my black pen. So I'm going to go, instead of 2 units to the right, we're going to go 2 units to the left. So right over here, this is A prime. And that is -2, +5. Okay, right, B is 2 units to the right. We're going to go 2 units to the left. Let's label that B prime. That is from the origin. We're going to go left and then right. That is 1, 2 to the left, so that's -2. And 1 up. So that's +1. So -2, +1. Oops. All right, let's connect A prime to B prime. Let's go to C prime. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left. Now we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, sorry, 4 to the right. Now it's to the left, so 4 to the left. C prime. That's the coordinate -4, 1. All right, let's connect. D prime, 6, 3. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's go 6 to the left. That same height. That'll be right over here. Same height, D prime. And that is the coordinate -6, +3. All right, E prime. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. E prime, and that is -5, +4. Right, and hopefully just with this, you can already determine what pattern in the coordinates are. And let's go to F. Looks like right over here. I'll connect it with all the other points. F prime is -6, +6. Okay. And this is, well, this actually should technically be double prime. Sorry about that, because this is the second transformation that we're doing. So this is figure J double prime. Let me fix those primes here. Okay. Right, so perfectly symmetrical. If you fold your paper at this red line, you're going to see that the figure in blue, figure J, matches the black figure, figure J double prime. So let's go ahead and identify what is the same and what is different, just looking only at the coordinates. So we can just look at A to A double prime, right? What do we notice is the same? What do we notice is different? Right, 2, 5, -2, +5. We should hopefully notice that the Y values are the same. So when we reflect about the Y-axis, Y values will stay the same. Stay the same. And then what else do we notice? Right, for this, right, -2 becomes -2, 4 becomes -4, 5 becomes -5. So the Y's, or sorry, the X values, the first values, the X values are the opposite. Okay, so it still stays the same number, it's just we change the sign though. So the rule, going to put Y-axis, X comma Y, and then an arrow, is that this becomes -X +Y. So we can just say that the X's are opposite and the Y stays the same. So to compare this with the previous page, right, when you reflect about the X-axis, it's the other variable. The other variable, Y, is the opposite. So reflect about the X-axis, Y changes. And when you reflect about the Y-axis, X, the other variable, X changes. So it's always the other variable. The same variable will still stay. So Y-axis, the Y is still the same. Okay. This is mainly the only two lines that we'll reflect from. We're going to skip everything else. I'd like for you to go to page 55. for the assignment. Oops, pass it. So the assignment I'd like for you to do, on page 55, it's going to be 1A through D. So A, B, C, and D. I already did number 1 for you. And then number 2 and number 3 on the back side. We're not doing number 4. So if we look on the back side, we're doing this one. We're not doing this one. All right. Going to get started on your assignment.